Welcome to The Bridge, a podcast for dental professionals featuring the insights and expertise of fellow dental professionals. Let's welcome our host, Steve Kuza.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 6 of the Bridge Dental Podcast. I have Dr. Bianca Vallejo. She's joining us from Nevada today, and she graduated from Tufts University Dental School, and she's the owner of Green Valley Smiles Dentistry. She's also going to talk about Oral Health Minute and what she does there. She's going to bring up her Instagram page. Dr. Vallejo, welcome to the Bridge Dental Podcast. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, Steven. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I was super excited to have you, and it was by pure coincidence we connected through whatever Instagram algorithm came up, but it worked out. And you and I have had a conversation since. So for our listeners out there, give us a context of just where you're at in dentistry today so they know where you're coming from.
Sure. So I'm originally from New York. I was born and raised over there, and I went to Tufts undergrad, graduated in 2011, went to Tufts Dental School. As you mentioned, graduated in 2015. After graduating dental school, I took a leap of faith and I moved out to Las Vegas, and took on an associate job working at a PDS-supported practice here. And I had an opportunity 1 year after being an associate to open up my own brand new startup PDS-supported practice here in Henderson, which is a suburb right outside of Las Vegas. And that office is going to be 5 years old coming up soon. So it's been cool to watch that grow from nothing to now. I have 3 full-time GPs, 2 hygienists. I'm looking to open my second practice this spring and bringing on new doctors and just a growing team. I'm also a new mom. And so married, have a kid, and just living my best life, as we say.
That's awesome. So we're obviously going to go through a lot of that journey today. So if you're listening and you just heard her resume, you're definitely want to listen in because she's got some great insight on experience. We're going to talk through you being a first generation dentist. I want to talk about why you chose the DSO path and why that was important to you. And how the DSO handled the pandemic or is currently handling the pandemic. And then work-life balance. You said you're a new mom and you run a successful business. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about with the Oral Health Minute, you give the positive vibe to dentistry and how you're helping patients through that. And so we got a lot to share. So let's get right to it. No more times wasting. So you're born and raised in New York, and
yes.
And then you decided to make that jump to Vegas. But let's talk about how you, as someone who's first generation, why you wanted to go into dentistry, what inspired you. And then obviously, I'm first generation from here in Michigan. And so, my family would not, I don't know, they would be hard for my family to let me go to, the West Coast, let's say. So I got to imagine that was an interesting discussion amongst the family.
For sure. Well, dentistry, I knew I always wanted to do healthcare in some way. I really was passionate about helping people, lifestyles, and at school. And we had to do a class project. And you had to pick a career and present it to the team or to your class and I chose dentistry, mostly because it was easy, because our family friend was a dentist and I had an upcoming dental appointment. So I figured I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. While I was going to the family dental appointment, I could interview our family dentist. And at that time, I was really impressed that she was a business owner, really well respected in her community. And I'm just the type of person when I plant a seed in my head or my heart and it grows, I become really passionate about it. And I remember as I was preparing for the project and preparing to give my presentation to the class, I was like, wow, I just convinced myself that I want to be a dentist, and the more I researched about it, and I remember in college, I was the president of the Pre-Dental Society, so I was just immersing myself in the field, trying to gain new perspectives, shadowing different doctors, shadowing dental students. And the more I learned about it, I loved every aspect about dentistry. I love that it's almost like an underdog healthcare profession. Yes. You know what I mean? If people don't really like the dentist or, think about The Hangover, they don't think dentists or doctors. And so I felt like, as they need passionate people who can show that dentistry is an important part of overall health. And I really like that as dentists, we work with our hands and we can cure people basically on the spot. We're not just writing prescriptions and hoping that you feel better. Like, we are actively curing people of disease every day with the procedures that we do. So, very true. Those are some of the things that really attracted me. And since then, another reason I decided to become a general dentist is because I really wanted to, I love the variety of the day, and I really like that I can run my own business and be the quarterback, and when patients come to me, I'm their primary care doctor, and I can help guide them and refer them to specialists, and really maintain those long-term relationships with them.
So you come out of school and you are an associate, then you decide that you're going to take this chance, you're going to move to Nevada, and you're still an associate when you move out there, right? There was no promise of ownership at that point, correct?
That's specifically what attracted me to the PDS, Pacific Dental Services model in the first place, is because they did have this owner-doctor platform. And so I knew that that's a goal that I wanted to work towards. Of course, there's no promise. Nothing's ever handed. You have to work hard. But that for sure, when I moved out here, I was working under my owner doctor and mentor at the time. And he had previously trained up new grads in my position to become owners and teach them the ropes on clinical and business. And I just felt like it was a really good opportunity to help me achieve my goals. And so, I think the partnership and working with that doctor and specifically choosing to work in a PDS-supported practice helped me achieve my goals of practice ownership a lot faster, for sure.
So that's really cool. You got associated with PDS and they have a pathway to ownership. I mean, that's something as an associate that you can start to explore right away. I think that's great. And if they bring the mentorship along with it, that must have been obviously one of the main reasons, their main drivers that you moved out that way. You talk a lot about mentoring and giving back. I know you help out new grads, and that was probably one of the reasons you started the Oral Health Minute and to continue to broadcast yourself on brands, because you're trying to show people what's possible in dentistry. But talk a little bit about your vision to share with either the dental community or your community in general about dentistry and the career path.
Yeah, as a first generation doctor in my family, I navigated this entire career path through applying to dental school by myself. And I knew I couldn't really do it without the mentorship and help and guidance from others. And so, that's something that I'm really passionate about, is because I want to help other people who may not know what resources they have, or even know if dentistry is a good career for them, that I'm here, and I offer any encouragement, advice, because, I think especially dentistry truly is an apprenticeship, we cannot continue to advance our profession without others paving the way. And so again, I couldn't be here without all of my mentors, whether they're doctors, whether they're dental students, and even non-dental people who just give advice and support along the way. And I think that's what's the beauty of social media, is has allowed me to have almost a really broader reach. Before, I would just go back to my alma mater and say, hey, I'm here, here's my email address. And now with social media, I know there's just so much more connectivity, not just in the United States, but even worldwide. It's really cool to see people in dental programs in different countries reach out and just be like, wow, I really like your videos. That's something that I'm going to share with my patients because I love how you explain it. And hopefully they can better understand the procedures and see that dentistry is not so scary.
Right. I mean, also you think about social media, there's so much negativity with social media, but this is one of the positive things, is that you can connect with people from around the country, around the world, and you're impacting them. And it could just be one of your videos. It could just be something you're telling them and educating them, or it could be that you're able to reach out to somebody and get help from someone yourself. So that's the one part of social media that I love is that it does connect us all a little bit more. All right. So let's think about this, because you went down a career path that I think a lot of associates have a question about. And it's this question of, all right, they do decide that they want to own a practice, but do I do it individually or should I do it with a DSO? And that can be a big question for a lot of people. And so I want you to walk us through why you chose the DSO route, maybe what attracted you to that versus owning it. I guess you do own it individually, but just having that partnership with the DSO.
For sure. At first, I remember being a third, fourth year dental student trying to figure out what my options are post-graduation. And I was applying for jobs and, I was on, the job forums, and a lot of the, private practice jobs, I felt like they were saying, oh, must have 1 or 2+ years experience. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a fresh out of school, new grad. And so, I didn't feel like I was eligible to apply for those jobs. And so, looking at other opportunities, I saw that their DSOs were more friendly to new grads. Specifically, what attracted me, or my first introduction to Pacific Dental Services, was I was really involved in dental school in the ASDA, and I went to the National Leadership Conference, and then they had recruiters at those conferences. And so I got to learn more. And just from speaking with the recruiters, letting them know, what my goals were, what I was looking for in a practice. Like, I wanted to work in a brand new practice. I really wanted to be involved in all the new technology, digital x-rays, CAD/CAM technology. And so just knowing what my goals were and what my must-haves in my first job were. Obviously, I was searching for mentorship because I don't have any family who are dentists that I could inherit a practice afterwards. So, after talking with the recruiters, they were able to introduce me with other owner doctors in Pacific Dental Services who were looking for associates. And one thing that really attracted me, specifically when I went to go shadow and meet the doctors, is that when I walked into the practice, it was no different than my family friends' dental practice. I think that, especially when we're in school, you have these preconceived notions of what DSOs are. You think it's, you automatically think chain, or you automatically think like, what do they say? Churn and turn, right? And like, I remember walking to these practices and I was shadowing these doctors, and I felt that they genuinely cared about their patients. The offices were beautiful, brand new, equipped with all the technology that I was looking for. And like I said, it didn't feel any different than any of the private practices that I've shadowed and was around. And so, after hearing what they had to offer with the mentorship, with these opportunities for growth and potential ownership and partnering with them, to me, it really was a no-brainer. And I really just had to separate, like I said, that those preconceived notions of what I know my peers and what, others would say about DSOs, and just make sure that I was picking a path that felt and resonated with what my career goals were. And so my best advice, and I think you mentioned that this is what you say with your clients as well, is that there really is no one size fits all to when it comes to ownership or associateships or anything like that, that you really just need to do your research. Because the fact of the matter is each office, each doctor has their own philosophy, whether it's DSO or private practice. Same with residency programs, because I talk to students all the time as they're trying to contemplate what their next move is after graduation. Just because you're going to a GPR, not all GPRs are the same. That's so you need to do your research, talk to the program students, and just make sure that it's in line with your values and what you want to get out of it. So
I think that's a really good point, because I love what you said earlier. You said, when I plant a seed in my head and in my heart, then it's like you're all in, right?
Yeah.
So, and one of the things I think that's important you made clear, it's important for you to write out at least part of your vision. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish as an associate to get to ownership? And what are you trying to accomplish with, to your point, you obviously valued technology in these up-to-date offices, having this clean new office. And your goals and what PDS said, they aligned with what you wanted to get done. And so it probably made the decision that much easier for you because you had such clarity on your next decision. And I think for a lot of people, I'm going to go back to your social media connection here. You can do research and you just need to be resourceful, correct? Like there's plenty of research and resources you can reach out to when it comes to this stuff. It's just a matter of, do you want to do the work or put in the time to get those or get that information from somebody? So I'm sure that, you reached out to people or were super resourceful when you were going through that process.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I'm so thankful that you did invite me on your podcast. And I'm really glad that you are doing this for dentists, because it is important that they have those resources to hear all the different viewpoints. And, I speak to new grads very often. And that's actually one of the tips that I tell them as you need to shadow. You need to use do research and yourself independently come up with what your must-haves, what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And then when you are interviewing and shadowing and figuring out what your next move is, that way you can independently assess. Because it's so easy, especially when we're in school. We have so many people telling us what they recommend, right? And when you're on social media, right, you're feeling like these certain pressures of what you're supposed to do. And even me being first gen, right? Being Filipino, everyone has an opinion on what you have to say, what you're supposed to do, And so it's easy to feel torn and feel like you're pressured into live up to certain standards, whether it's societal, familial, or educationally, whatever. And so I think, if you know what you want in your heart, you'll know what feels right when you accept that next position or that offer. And that's what happened for me.
And if it isn't the right fit, then you adjust course, right? You get right back on the tracks and you make your next move. So let's talk about adjustments or adjusting course. We're in a global pandemic. How did I've talked to several practice owners getting their practice back up and running. How did your DSO respond that helped you, being a part of a DSO? And how did you respond during this pandemic? How did your office get back on track, back online? And tell us how that's kind of progressing today.
For sure. One thing that I really loved about being partnered with PDS is that they allow me as the owner of my practice, Green Valley Smiles Dentistry, like I treat my practice like a mom and pop business. But and people walk in and they won't know that I'm part of a Pacific Dental Services larger DSO because they've heard all the my reputation, the referrals from their friends and family, and the way that I operate. I just it's my baby, Right. But what's cooler about that is beyond me treating this like my own, mom and pop business, I have that corporate support or larger support. And so when the pandemic hit, I was able to really just focus on making sure that I was available for my patients. And so in Nevada, we were able to stay open for emergency only. So it quickly converted my practice into an urgent care. Me personally, I decided to be open 7 days a week.
Okay.
All right. And I was open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., basically like concierge dentistry 24/7. If you had an emergency, give us a call. I'm there. We were there on Easter. And because the fact of the matter is I knew that emergencies, especially in dentistry, happen daily. And I needed to make sure that I was there for when the emergency happened. And
as a patient, I would say daily and painful. So we need you to respond. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yes. And, with so many practices not being equipped to stay open or maybe being more fearful and uncertain, I knew as a first, we're a frontliner as dentists, which again, often neglected and not recognized. But, I wanted to do my part and be open to help alleviate the burden off of the ER, because if you have dental pain, the ERs are not equipped to manage your toothache. And then you're going to be exposed to maybe some of those more harmful, pathogens in the ER, in the waiting room. Like people get more sick in the ER waiting room than they do, other places. So I knew I wanted to do my part, and being partnered with PDS, I was really thankful because they helped, help me with making sure that they were calling the vendors, making sure we have the PPE, because I know that was a really big thing, right? Because in the shortage, like, how are we going to secure PPE to stay open? They helped make sure that I was able to turn around my website and make sure that everyone knew that, hey, we're open for emergencies, gave me the signage, because when I am working around the clock, it's really hard for me to think, about what other ways that I need to get the word out there, and just make sure that the marketing is there, and the orders are there. And then they helped me make sure that I'm filling out my PPP loans, right? Application. So it's so much I already have a lot of headaches managing my business. I have a staff of 16 people. Wow. And so that alone is a lot. And so I'm just really thankful. If I'm having headaches now, I just can only imagine what it's like to be a solo practitioner and not have that partnership to help manage sort of the day-to-day headaches of, insurance, billing, signage, websites, right? Like, just little things. And even, like I said, just securing those PPP loans, like the administrative things. And again, I'm very involved in my business, but I'm really happy to have that support, because they help think of things that I may not know of, especially as a new business owner. But then also just having that extra hand, because as productive as I am, there's still only so much I can accomplish in a 24-hour period. So PDS has been super, super clutch for me in this time. And as I've ramped up my business in this last couple of years, which I really appreciate.
That's really cool, because this DSO PDS, they didn't say, hey, you know what? No, you can't do 8 to 8. You can't hire 16 people, right? You can't have a staff that big. We're going to put you in this box, which I feel like sometimes associates get that perception from a DSO, which which personally you and I know is not the case. Mm-hmm. And again, like you said, it's not only one way or only this way, but maybe just exploring that option. But so they never restricted you from making these decisions, right? As a business, this is your business, and they're just partnering with you to help you get some of the, like, it's really hard to be a great dentist and all the skill set and becoming really good at implants and all these other things. And then it's even harder to become a really good business owner. And so I think that's cool that you can leverage some of that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one other thing that I've really enjoyed about my partnership with PDS is that, because I have that support, I can super focus on being an exceptional clinician. I can focus on even have more time to mentor my associates, right? I have new grad associates, and I'm ramping them up to help them be excellent clinicians. And so, and on top of that, then too, it's allowed me now to free up some of my time instead of bogging me down with a lot more of administrative stuff. Like I said, insurance, et cetera, payroll. I have more time that I am able to do social media, mm-hmm. and like, I have the time to do my oral health minute videos, and they've been super supportive of me doing that, because and I've been able to establish my own brand and promote my own business under their umbrella support. And, I think that's really cool.
So let's do a quick promotion then. So tell us about Oral Health Minute, and then your website where they can just find you on Instagram, find you on the Oral Health Minute. Just plug yourself for a moment and so people can find you and contact you.
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram. That's my main social media page. My handle is @Dr. Vallejo. And, or you can search the hashtag Oral Health Minute. So Oral Health Minute, is an educational and entertaining video series. It's 1 minute. So it's super quick, easy, fun, and you don't realize in the process, because it's so fast and funny and chill, that you're learning something in the process. It really was designed for, honestly, everyone. I have dental students and dentists who love it. They get a kick out of it. I have patients and just, anyone who's any casual Instagram user who can fall across the video and just be like, oh, wow, like, I didn't know that. And the whole idea is just to help establish a positive dialogue around dentistry. I think, and it was really inspired from my own journey. I remember when I first graduated dental school, we learn how to speak so clinically. And I took myself way too seriously, at least at work. And I'm a fun person. And so, I felt like I was losing my personality as I was talking to patients, and I wasn't getting patients to start dentistry. And I realized that if I were myself, and I realized that I was losing trust because I was talking over my patients, so I really had to be intentional about my approach with patients and making sure that I'm presenting dentistry in a way that they understand, using words that they understand. And that's why I'm really big on analogies, because that really drives the point home on what a procedure is or what disease is. And ultimately, by making sure that I'm catering this entire experience to the patient, they're more invested, understanding, and aware. So then they can better make informed decisions to do the dentistry that we're diagnosing. And so it's a win-win all around, because I'm gaining their trust. They're getting healthier and happier by accepting the treatment plan. And then, they're really happy with the way that I talk to them. I'm talking to them like a human being, not just like a number, or not just like, my typodont head, like I'm talking to them like a person who has a brain, heart, etc. And now that's how I get referrals. That's how I grow my business. So it's really, I really love how it's taken off. And, I really get excited when people are like, hey, I showed this to my patients. And, it's a tool, and you can use it however which way you want.
So I personally watched those videos. So as when I started following you on Instagram and the Oral Health Minute, and it takes away from, look, people don't want to feel sold a treatment plan. I would imagine, I'm just thinking as a patient now, right? They don't want to be sold a treatment plan. They want to be, educated about a treatment plan. Why is it important? All right, that's part of my oral health. Let's move forward. Let's do it. And it seems like you've been able to draw that connection, and you're not selling them a treatment plan. You're helping with their oral health. That's what you do. You're a doctor. You're helping them become more healthy. Like you said, treating them on demand, not just writing any prescription or hoping they feel better. And I think that's a big deal. And your Oral Health Minute takes away, like you said, your positive dialogue takes away that, anxiety maybe from a patient that this is what I'm walking into. So I think that's really cool. And the Oral Health Minute is really cool. You guys should definitely check it out. And I will also put it in the show notes too, so people can just hit your link and check it out. Now switching gears, because you're a new mom. So work-life balance, you're in this really busy practice in the middle of a pandemic. You're driving, you're branding, you're mentoring, and now you're a new mom. So talk to us about how you structure your work-life balance, and give us some feedback on how is it working? What's worked well? What hasn't worked well? And so that, people can start to design or structure their life accordingly.
For sure. I mean, it's hard. I'm tired. That's for sure. And I think I'm going to perpetually be tired, but that's okay. That's the mom life, I've heard. And, but, I remember when I first became pregnant, and, I was planning on all these big lofty goals for my business and my personal brand and my personal and professional goals. And I just remember, hearing some people were really supportive, and some people just hearing comments that were more like, well, you need to wait and see until you give birth. Things are going to change when you become a mom. And that really freaked me out. I was like, am I going to be a completely different person? Am I going to lose my drive? Am I going to lose my hunger and ambition when I give birth? Like, I didn't know how it would be possible that you can have 100% or 180 personality shift. But then again, I'd never had been a first time mom. So but I continued to plan, and I was really, really relieved. I gave birth, and I was in the hospital, and I was answering emails.
You're right back to work.
And I was so relieved to be like, oh my God, I'm not different. I'm still me. And I think really being pregnant, being a mom has I think it gives me more clarity on what's important to me. For sure, with more of a limited schedule, I have to be so much more intentional with my time and my schedule. And so, it means that I don't have time for crap, or I have to be way more structured and, and that means probably less like aimless scrolling on social media, but just more quality time. And I think also when I am super busy and I am, trying to balance my work and my life, not just even my baby, because at first too, I'm all about just making sure that every free time I'm not at work, I'm with my baby. Mm-hmm. But then my husband was starting to feel a little neglected too. Right. And so I remembered I have to nurture every primary relationship, and then not just him, but also then my personal fitness and physical health and well-being.
You gotta take care of yourself.
It's a lot. And so, I found that it's not really about quantity. It's also about quality, because even on my days off, or when the pandemic hit, I had a lot of free time because it was a little slow in the, right. And me and my doctors were taking turn like on call. So I had that was the first time I had like 5 days off continuously, like since maternity leave. So and so I remember just being like, okay, I have all this time, and it's easy to get lost in that time. And I'm with my baby, but I'm on my phone. Right. And that's not quality time. And so I think what's nice is that I really appreciate every moment that much more, because I know that I don't have a lot of time. So when I am with my baby, I'm 100% all in, zero distractions, we're together. And then that does even require me scheduling date nights. Yeah. I hate, that's the one thing for sure I miss about being single, is like the spontaneity of the schedule. Like now everything's structured, but like I'm telling my husband, hey, this is a time we have together. We can be spontaneous in what we do in that couple hours, but no cell phones, no distractions, no emails, because it's easy for us to be pulled so many different directions. So I think really when it comes to work-life balance, it's a matter of 1, setting your priorities, whatever that is. And then 2, just making sure that you're super focused with your time and, making time for things that are important to you.
Well, and being present in a moment when you're at work or at home, it's almost being, living to that extreme when you're there. And I think that's huge. I think it's a great message to share. So, in a paraphrase a little bit, but the more structure you have in your calendar for even when you plug in the date night, and I laugh because, my wife and I have to do the same thing. It actually gives us a little more freedom. We're not just wasting time. We're actually spending that time together. And it's more freedom in your brain. You're enjoying that time that much more because you know that your time is so limited. When you're running a business, having kids and supporting each other, it's a big undertaking, but that's how you live your best life. It's scheduling that stuff out. You almost have to do it that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go. Oh no, I was just thinking too. I mean, while we're like, especially, as dentists, I feel like we take care of people. I take care of people every day. Not only am I taking care of all my patients, I'm taking care of all of my staff. And then I feel like I'm taking care of my kid. And then I'm taking care of my husband and my family. And so I think one thing too that helps me be productive is that I need to schedule my me time. And I found that I'm so much better now that I'm scheduling my 1 hour a week of a workout or 1 hour of a week for meditation and church. You know what I mean? Like still doing something that feeds yourself, because it's easy to get lost when we're serving others all the time.
Yeah. I always tell people you cannot, this is from my own experience. You cannot take care of others if you can't take care of yourself. So take care of yourself really, really well first, as far, like you said, fitness, health, and faith. And then you will be that much more better when you're, talking to other people, whether it's patients or your personal life. So I can align with that value system really well. And it's probably driven you to where you're at today. And it's not that stuff is easy, because then everybody would do it. That stuff is really hard. Would you agree?
Oh my gosh, so hard. And I think that's why it requires just constant checking in and just, and it's important to take breaks. And I think that's another thing too. You're like, how do I do it? I mean, I think kindness, like I do need to be kind to myself as someone who is so hard and so ambitious that sometimes it's like, okay, take a step back. And just reminding yourself, like, what's important?
Right.
You know, and then when I remind myself and recalibrate, okay, what's important? Okay, maybe this opportunity didn't pan out, or, as I'm evaluating new opportunities to take on, I'm like, okay, is that important? Or is that taking away from me time, family time? You know what I mean? So, just constantly checking in and like having a really good support network, right? Like I have a great relationship with my husband who supports me endlessly. And I think, that really helps give me the strength and focus so that I can do all these cool things that I do too. And vice versa. And just, having good friends or family that you can talk to when you are feeling overwhelmed to help set you straight and get you back on track,
Yeah, people often talk about like having your own board of directors, right? Of people that you take care of you or support you. Do you feel like you've set that environment up for yourself, or have you? Has that helped you?
Absolutely. I mean, it was really funny. Me and my husband were we're such drivers in our own lives, and I think the best way to put it, sometimes if I get mad, in my head I automatically think, I don't need you. I can do this by myself. Right. And, I think that's what makes us so strong, is because we could do what we're doing without each other, but we choose to do it with each other. And that's what makes us strong. And I think, remembering that by ourselves, we can only accomplish so much, but with your board of directors, your CFO, your VP on your side, you can accomplish so much more. And you do need trusted, loyal advisors. You need coaches, mentors, support system. And, I think I'm good, but the people around me make me great. And so for sure, I do believe in that.
And you're also practicing that, whether you realize it or not. You've leveraged the DSO so that you could be that much better.
True.
You have 15, 16 people on your staff that makes you that much better. And then obviously in your home life, right? But that you're living that example and that value system out, and you could see the success it's brought you. I think that's awesome. And the last thing I want you to touch on is the social media influence. You're really a driver there. Like you said, that we've talked a little bit about the Oral Health Minute. And so tell us, why have you done it? Where has it helped you? And how do you stay consistent with it?
Social media, and we did talk about this a little bit, that there is a lot of negativity, and it can be draining and exhausting. And you're just like, oh, I don't really want to watch some of these things. But for me, it really, there are still so many positives, and it has opened so many doors for me, obviously, like connected me to you. Interestingly enough, I found my associate on Instagram.
Right. There you go.
And so I think I actually I'm thinking about writing an article one of these days, if I can fit it into my to-do list, but on how I feel like Instagram is almost turning into the new LinkedIn, because I'm networking with doctors all the time. And I told you, I'm opening a second practice. I'm partnering with my social media doc. Her name's, you can find her, Dr. Tang is at @lulubu_. So anyway, so we found each other on Instagram, and she was amazing. Really coachable, bought into my values. And so we're going to be opening up my second location in the summer. And so I'm looking for someone to replace her. And so now I'm putting messages on social media and just see, and doctors are contacting me, and it's really cool because, your page is almost like a little resume, right? You get an insight into your personality. And that's what I've been using it for me too, is just, I feel like people have been able, and that's what I really like about the videos, is that people not only are you getting a feel for who I am in my captions and my posts and my pictures, but videos really can show my expressiveness, and just you can get a feel for my practice philosophy and patient approach just by those videos. So I think social media has been great. And, I think if we continue to focus on the good on it, we'll reap what we sow.
That's true. That's very true. And again, check her out, and we'll put a little link in our show notes so that people can jump on there. And this one we didn't talk about yet, so I might catch you off guard. I wanted to almost think about someone who's so driven. you're way more driven than me. You're way more accomplished than me in the sense that you get stuff done, and I try to get stuff done. But when I read
doing this, I'm really
trying.
impressed. You started this.
That's right. I'm trying my best. When I read I don't want to call them self-help books because I love these nonfiction, self-help books of the one thing with Gary Keller is one of my favorite book, really good book. But I almost sometimes can't finish them because my brain takes over. It's like, you can do, all right, take that process now, apply yourself to it. Tell us, what are you reading? What continues to, are you getting educated from? Talk to us a little about that. And that's why I kind of like to wrap it up with you is tell us how you're educating yourself.
You know what? Don't feel bad because I also have not finished a book in a while. I have a lot of books on my nightstand, but I haven't really finished one because it is hard. But I think if you read a few pages each day, one book that I really like is Grit. I want to say it's Angela
Duckworth. Yeah, there you go. It's a great book.
And I really relate to that. And it's interesting, especially as I'm parenting, and I love being a mom. I catch myself. And I think that's why I really like mentorship is because I love teaching. And, for example, I went to the park this morning with my son, and he's trying to learn how to climb the jungle gym. And he got through 2 steps. And then he was struggling to get through the 3rd step and he wanted to give up. And I was like, no, you got this. And so, and he did, and he
That's
continued
awesome.
to persevere. And it's interesting because I think mindset truly is everything. So I loved Grit, right? And that I think, I think the people who are most successful are those who have that gritty, tenacious personality.
Yeah.
So I like that book. Another one I have on my nightstand is not a book. I have Parent Magazine.
There you go.
I can't believe I'm turning into such a mom and such a nerd, but I read these parenting magazines. So that's really fun. And so I think those are the 2 main ones. And my dad just got me this book and it's called Plus.
Okay.
I think it's another book about mindset, but really, I think I spend a lot of time with myself on just mindset. I think that's what helped me survive the pandemic. I mean, those were some dark, scary times.
Yeah.
And I think back, I can't believe it was 6, 7, 8 months ago. And I just remember, I had to give myself a lot of mantras to get through. One of the mantras that got me through was, don't stress about things that I don't have enough information to make a decision on yet. Right. And so it's, I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next month? What am I going to do about this? And I was like, wait, I don't have enough information to make a decision yet. So let me just focus on the present. And when I get as the governor releases more details, as the CDC releases more details, as I get more information on how I can do things, then I will strategize. But sometimes you spend so much time losing precious time worrying about tomorrow, and we just need to focus on today. So, and I think because I was able to survive the pandemic and with those mindsets, and I felt like I got really mentally tough, I really think that I can handle anything. Although that being said, universe, please don't challenge us anymore. I don't know how much more we can take.
Right. I agree. I think that's so cool because even as driven as you are and as self-motivated as you are, it still takes a lot of grit. It still takes a lot of work. You're still always working on yourself. Even reading through your what you love to do, you're still, meditation, it's fitness, you're trying to stay healthy. And all of that helps your mindset. You think just more abundantly, you think more positively. And obviously that's a reflection of the work you're doing, and the patients are getting that from you. So I just truly appreciate you connecting with me, you being open to getting on here, help giving back to the dental community. You didn't know me from other than an Instagram direct message, and you had a little bit of blind faith. You were abundant about it. And I really appreciate you joining the Bridge Dental podcast today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
As you continue to progress, let's stay in touch and see how things go.
I know, right? It'll be fun to come back in a year or 2 and see okay, I mean, like I said, 5 years out, I can't believe how far I've come. And so and to think that there's still more that I want out there. So I definitely look forward to maintaining this relationship, and best of luck as you continue to grow your podcast. You're doing really great things for the community. And I'm really proud of you. So don't be hard on yourself either. Okay. You're doing it.
Thank you, Bianca. Thank you. And so this is episode 6. For those of you guys who want to check it out, it's available on iTunes, Spotify, any podcast platform. Check out Bianca. This is a great episode, and I hope you enjoyed it.